Hey, what is going on, you Red with Rage Rillaboom? Today we're going to be taking a look at some more revealed Pokemon card 151 cards. There's been quite a few since I last did a video on these that have been revealed, so I'm taking a look at those today. But I know what you're thinking, Azul, your shirt is super sick. And I agree, my shirt is super sick, but you can have a super sick shirt as well if you just head over to qualitypatchdesigns.com. They've got shirts, hoodies, computer mats, button downs, lanyards, pins, patches, posters, mugs, wrapping paper. They have it all for Pokemon merch. So check them out, qualitypatchdesigns.com. Use code AzulGG for 10% off. If you use the link in the description, that'll take you over there. It'll automatically apply my code AzulGG for 10% off. By far the coolest thing they do, though, and that's where this shirt comes from, is they can take any card artwork, as you see if you scroll down to the bottom of the home page here. They can take any card artwork and turn it into a shirt. The shirt I'm wearing right now is the Darkrai GX artwork, and if you're the first person to get that artwork turned into a shirt, they put a little first edition symbol on it as well, which is super cool. So be sure to go check that out. If you want to contact them to get that done, hit them up on Instagram or the contact tab on the home page. Check them out, qualitypatchdesigns.com. And let's go ahead, let's take a look at these new 151 cards that have been revealed. We're starting off with Wheezing. The potential for spread is maybe back. It's more so the ability that I think is carrying the Wheezing here. So Wheezing, 110 HP. It's got that explode together ability. If this Pokemon is in the active spot and is knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, flip a coin. If heads, the attacking Pokemon is knocked out. So it's got that old school, depending on how old school you go, Feigning Spell, or most recently, there was another Pokemon with this, but I can't even remember what it was, to be honest. I'm thinking Gengar with Feigning Spell. That's back in 2010, though, so that's a while. A lot of you probably have no idea what that card is or does, but it effectively had the same ability, but it was called Feigning Spell. And then, for 2 colorless energy, do have Double Turbo right now, but Double Turbo does reduce the damage that you deal to all your opponent's Pokemon. Spinning Gas, 50 damage. This attack does 10 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So with the Double Turbo, you do 30 damage and 0 damage to your opponent's bench Pokemon. So not great for the Wheezing. So the Double Turbo doesn't quite work out super well. We do have a Reversal Energy coming out. But like I said, the ability, I think, is like the bigger draw here for this card. So you can be attacking with Spinning Gas, doing a little bit of damage, spreading some damage, but you're really just kind of relying on the explode together, I think, to win games. That's kind of the go-to here. Well, yeah, what Pokemon had a similar... Someone in the comment section is going to know for sure and tell me, but I'm thinking of it. There's definitely a Pokemon that literally has this ability that's like not too old, but I can't remember what it is. Let's move on. Up next, we've got the Gloom was revealed. So we already knew what the Vileplume did, but the Gloom actually makes the Vileplume so much better, to be honest. The Gloom actually takes it to the point where I think this could be pretty good, to be honest, because being able to go from the stage 1 into the stage 2. The Vileplume, well, let me tell you what the cards do. The Vileplume, when you evolve it from your hand, you would look at the top 8 cards of your deck and attach any number of basic energy you find there to your Pokemon any way you like, which is good. But at the stage 2, getting there is going to be a little bit wild. But the Gloom kind of ties things together really nicely. So instead of having to like pull off the rare candy Vileplume, possibly you could play the Gloom instead of rare candies. And when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may look at the top 3 cards of your deck and attach any number of basic energy you find to your Pokemon any way you like. So this actually, I like this line here. I like this line here. I wouldn't play rare candies. You like a 4/4/4 Vileplume line as energy acceleration. And the question from there just becomes, what do you play it with? But this is cool. This is cool. The Gloom really ties everything together. I was thinking, okay, maybe the Vileplume is okay with like rare candies. You know, top 8. That's quite a few cards to see. Get some energy in play. Of course, what attackers are you playing with this? I don't know. You tell me. But yeah, Gloom makes this such a more powerful card, the Vileplume. Like, it really makes this whole thing, this whole line, so much more powerful. So I'm excited to see what could actually come out of this Vileplume type and engine type decks when 151 it does finally drop. Up next, we have the Persian. Persian's not too powerful, but I think it's got an interesting ability. Once in your turn, you may search your deck for a Giovanni's Charisma card, which is a supporter card that comes out in this set. Reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Giovanni's Charisma takes an energy from your opponent's Pokemon and shuffles it back into their deck or puts it back in their hand, and then it allows you to accelerate an energy out of your hand to one of your Pokemon. So, an interesting possible engine, the Persian engine. You just keep finding Giovanni's Charisma over and over, accelerating energy into play while removing energy from your opponent's side of the field. It's kind of cool, actually. It's kind of cool. I kind of dig it. I don't know how good it'll be, but I do like the kind of idea of it. I think a lot of the 151 cards, for only having 151 cards in the set, a lot of them are cool and interesting, which I wish we'd see a little bit more of in main set releases. don't really see that. There's a lot of filler. But in this 151 set, even if the cards aren't like broken, stuff like the Vileplume, stuff like this, it's cool, it's interesting, makes you think about possibilities. And that's really when I feel like the game is in its best state, when there's a lot of cards that kind of make you stop and think about, okay, what could I possibly do with this? Up next, the Gengar line was revealed. Ghastly's nothing special. The Haunter is kind of cool and does combo with the Gengar very well. Lost Soul Return. Once during your turn, when you play this card from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may choose a supporter card from your opponent's discard pile and put it into their hand. Okay, I think the initial translation I saw of this, and maybe I just read it really poorly. The initial translation I saw of this was once during your turn, not when you evolve, but just once during your turn, you may put any card from your opponent's discard pile into their hand. I was like, okay, that's super cool. Doesn't seem inherently like broken or overpowered, but it's really cool. Seems really cool. And then I read this translation. I was like, oh, it was either mistranslated or I just completely misunderstood the initial translation that I read. So no, it does once in your turn when you evolve it, you can put specifically a supporter card for your opponent's discard pile into their hand. So not as good as I thought it was. The Gengar is kind of cool though. For 1 psychic energy. Of course, it is stage 2, 130 HP. Look at your opponent's hand. This attack does 50 damage for each trainer card you do find. There's a Poltergeist for 1 psychic times 50. That's not bad. It is on a stage 2. Does have the free retreat cost to back it up a little bit here. And then Psychic Colors for 110. Put 3 damage counters on your opponent's bench Pokemon anyway. Like, it's also not bad. It has kind of like a cleanup attack. So that comboed with the Haunter, being able to force trainer cards into your opponent's hand. I can see this being an okay meme deck, to be honest. I was a lot more excited for it, or just Haunter in general, because I feel like you could do some weird stuff with Haunter. Even with with Iono coming back in the format, if you just like put a bunch of bad cards in your opponent's hand, get them back into your opponent's deck with Judge or Iono, you could just keep their deck constantly dead, basically, and then maybe hit them with a Roxanne. They draw 2, it's just 2 dead cards. I don't know. There was some weird stuff I was thinking about with the Haunter, with the translation I thought it was, or the mistranslation that I saw. Comboed with just the Gengar itself, it's cool, it's okay. Once again, at least it's something to make you stop and think about it, which is what I've been loving from these 151 cards. Up next, we do have a potential contender, though, for a top-tier deck. I'm talking Tier 1, Tier 2. Will it be Tier S? I don't think so, but it could be Wigglytuff EX. 250 HP, Stage 1. A lot of HP on a 2-prize Stage 1 Pokemon. I think most of the Stage 1 EXs are about that, though. But we got the expanding body ability, and this is where things get a little bit wild, a little bit crazy. Sometimes the stats are just so big, it doesn't matter what the rest of the card does. And if this Pokemon has any special energy attached to it, it gets plus 100 HP. 350 HP on a 2-prize Stage 1 Pokemon is pretty good. That's a lot of HP. That's pretty good. Now, the attack, like I said, the rest of it's nothing special. Weak to fighting, usually not a great weakness to have. Retreat cost of 3, that's a lot of retreat cost. The attack, colorless. It is triple colorless, which is nice. 90. If you played a supporter card from your hand during your last turn, or during this turn, excuse me, you do 90 more damage. So if you put a double turbo on here, we're looking at, 160 damage. You're 2-hit KOing pretty much everything in the format. Not getting any of those aggressive 1-hit KOs on V Pokemon, unfortunately. But I think there is something here with the Wigglytuff. Just like 350 HP. Sometimes the stats get so high, like it doesn't matter what the rest of the card looks like. So Wigglytuff, I'm looking out for the Wigglytuff. That is for sure. And of course, the Wigglytuff does combo with the Wigglytuff coming out in... Oh no, where did I... I was going to show you guys the Wigglytuff, but apparently I didn't put it on the next slide that I had up here. So the Wigglytuff that comes out in Paldea Evolved allows you to search your deck for a therapy energy and attach it to one of your Pokemon. So it searches a special energy onto one of your Pokemon, which combos with Wigglytuff, and then it also evolves from Jigglypuff. So it just kind of combos really well. You just have built-in energy acceleration as one of your Stage 1 Pokemon. So kind of insane. Up next, we got this Beedrill. It is a Stage 2, which is going to make things a little bit slow. But for 2 colorless energy, it does combo with double turbo energy. 30 damage. If you don't have any cards in your hand, this attack does 120 more damage. We're looking at 150 damage. And your opponent's active is now poisoned and paralyzed. Now, paralysis chaining has always been really good. Also, like stopping your opponent from retreating, kind of chaining has always been pretty good as well. Especially when you can kind of combo that with something to actually knock out the Pokemon during your turn or going into your turn. And they are going to be poisoned, which does help set that up pretty well. We will have Alakazam. A Radiant Alakazam is still around as well. So I could see some kind of Beedrill deck. There's not a lot of decks in the format playing Switch cards. Some kind of Beedrill deck that could actually like trap Pokemon, knock them out going into your turn or on your turn, and then kind of repeat that loop from there. So Beedrill seems pretty cool. Obviously, something like Lost Box is going to tear this thing apart, but maybe you dodge all the Lost Box in a tournament and you can do well with it. I don't know. I think that was it from the ones I want. Oh, one more. We got the Clefable with the additional moon attack for triple psychic energy. I don't think I've talked about this one yet. I actually wasn't sure if I had or hadn't talked about this one yet. Yeah, triple or additional moon, triple psychic for additional moon. Now you're thinking 100 HP Pokemon, triple psychic energy, only for 50 damage. But if your opponent's active Pokemon is knocked out by damage from this attack, you take one more prize card, which is like really good. Taking an additional prize card is like really good. Now by itself, this probably isn't great. Of course, you can combo this with the Clefairy that searches your deck for energy and attaches them to each of your Clefairy in play. But those Clefairies have what, 50 HP, I believe. So you just kind of lose to Lost Box with that deck. And now you could just take the L's of Lost Box and beat other stuff. So this would combo definitely well in that Clefairy deck. But what I think this combo is better in is actually Zorobox. Zorobox is going to be getting the reversal energy, which allows you to use a ton of cool, new, interesting attackers in the deck, and this is definitely one of them. Being able to like hit something, not quite be able to get the KO, whether that be you whiffed, or you don't want to get the KO, or maybe you set it up for a 2-hit KO to then attack again with the additional moon, and then take the knockout, get an extra prize card. All of a sudden, you're like from behind in the prize trade to ahead in the prize trade. I don't know. Seems really cool as another additional attacker in the Zorobox deck. And we're actually seeing a lot of those kind of coming out of the next set. A bunch of potential attackers in Zorobox because, yeah, with the reversal energy coming out, they're releasing a ton of stage 1 Pokemon that combo with reversal energy, which makes sense because they're releasing reversal energy. So yeah, look out for Zorobox potentially in the near future. The Lost Box matchup is still probably going to be terrible, but I think there would maybe be some potential for the card Zorobox in general, you know, potentially later, potential this, potential that, potentially later on, like Lost Box goes out of favor. Of course, Zoroark does rotate with rotation, so rotation is not going to be saving Zorobox. Zorobox still will have to be in the same format as Lost Box for the rest of its existence in the standard format. But with so many new additions, you know, all you need is like Lost Box to not be like the most popular deck in the format, and all of a sudden it could be a very powerful option as a deck. So I'm excited for Zorobox moving forward, to be honest. This is definitely an addition to it that would be pretty strong. Maybe this is enough to beat Lost Box. You could like play this with the cleansing gloves, and then you're actually doing like 80 damage, which KOs Sableye and Comfey, and you'll be drawing 2 prize cards. Of course, like once you're ahead on the prize exchange, you can't use the Clefable anymore. So I don't know how that would really play out, to be honest. But potential, like I said, potential. And that's going to do it. That's all the cards to talk about today. Let me know if you think there's any other ones that were revealed so far that I haven't talked about that you think I kind of missed on. Or is there any combos that I missed with any of the cards that I did talk about? Let me know in the comment section down below. Of course, check out Quality Patch Designs for all the dope Pokemon merch that you would ever need. Code AzulGG, link in the description. It'll automatically apply my code. And I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace.